In a world with entirely too many shows about cars, this is another pointless automotive podcast.
At Car Park, this is another pointless automotive podcast, and we've got some guests. We have my friends, your friends, the nerds themselves, the nerds. That is JP, and that say hi, JP.
Hello.
Hi. There we go.
Sensual.
And then we have the other nerd.
Michael Deeb.
That's it. Michael Deeb here,
Yeah.
the guy who knows things. He's here in the flesh.
Wait, does that mean I'm the one that doesn't know things?
Yeah.
I mean, it's implied. I think
You're the
you know.
producer.
Damn, that's yet to be seen.
Did you tell them before we got here?
Yeah,
'Cause
no, they
that's-
knew. They watched
all right.
half an episode and they figured it out.
It's we scrambled like we usually do here before we start recording.
Doing your research.
We scrambled throughout.
And
Dumb
we're
one,
just
but not
kind of
dumb one.
basically gonna shoot the shit and giggle like we're already doing. So this is already a match made in heaven, I think.
Are we all? Is this live? Are we streaming or is
No.
canvas?
The OnlyFans we're not doing today because I figured we would just.
OnlyFans.
Yeah,
The
we're
camera
not.
that's down there.
We don't talk about that camera.
Yeah.
Point at the crotch cam.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that when you told me to wear a skirt? I thought that was a
They
weird
can't have you on their
request.
OnlyFans and not pay you money for it. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah,
they can.
there's licensing. It's
I'll
weird.
pay you for ours.
I know you already know all of this.
Yeah.
And how the money is made or the sausage is buried.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming in. Plane flights were involved,
Yeah,
so
thanks,
that's
guys.
really cool. And I think we're just gonna kind of talk noise and talk garbage and just talk about car stuff and auction stuff. And for the uninitiated, what are car nerds? What is
Bid nerds.
Bid nerds? Sorry, what do you guys do? What's the elevator pitch? How does
Ask
for
the
those who don't
show's
know?
creator
Oh boy.
and producer.
Bid
The head of the
Nerds
snake.
And talent.
is a YouTube channel where we talk about the most interesting car of the day from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites.
Okay.
Obviously, including Bring a Trailer, P-Car Market, Cars and Bids and more.
Yes.
We don't just have a discussion about the most interesting car. What's
Mm-hmm.
unique about our show is that we make a prediction as to what we think that car will sell for,
Cool.
or not, in
Sure.
its respect about how will that car's auction end. It doesn't always end in a sale. So we'll make a prediction on what's going to happen with that
The old
the
RMS.
respective car's auction, and then at the end of the show we reveal what actually happened. So the process, we have a time machine, so during the episode we can go into the future and actually see what happened, and then we discuss the results.
That's right.
So-
There's like a flux capacitor.
yeah,
involved
correct.
in all that,
Yeah,
cold fusion.
yeah. So at the beginning of the show, we talk about what we think is going to happen. The end of the show, we marry what actually happened.
Sure.
And then it's really, Deeb knows everything about the cars, and I
Well,
just
he's the
make
guys who knows
stupid-
things, so that stands to reason.
Let me tell you the real story. Like
I'll give it to
everybody
you
else,
straight talk.
like everybody
There
else
we
in
go.
2020,
Uh-huh.
JP and I started a podcast. We both each got an air fryer. We did our own starter for
You ever put the
sourdough.
pizza rolls in those?
Yeah, absolutely.
Checking all
and
the
then,
boxes are clutch.
my wife and I had a baby, and him and his wife got a new puppy. So,
okay.
we were just trying to conform to all the other people, like everybody else. But it was
Always
really cool.
wise,
Like
yeah.
the way the auctions really proliferated when everybody was kind of at home.
Yeah.
The cool thing for car guys is we all got to. I feel like we were the first ones out of the house because people started doing rallies where
Right.
you could sort of maintain your anonymity inside the car, but still
Correct.
gather with friends. And a lot of guys would throw on a gator and then go to a Cars and Coffee and that sort of thing.
Sure.
So what was the discussion at the back of every car at every car meet was, did you see that car that closed on BAT?
Did you see that green
and we were
240Z?
we were all losing our The 240 was great. That
Yeah.
actually happened before all that.
Yeah.
The Franklin Mint car that went for 300 grand.
Yeah.
Broke Bring a Trailer. They wouldn't let any people join in to watch it. If
Yeah.
you were watching it from before the closing time, you were in, but there were so many people trying to join. They shut down the conversation, and people couldn't start watching it live because they didn't have the bandwidth for it. But,
Yeah, a little
but
wild
anyways,
moment.
John and I were talking, and I had unfortunately left Las Vegas and come home to San Francisco to help my sister reopen the restaurant.
Unfortunately.
Because Vegas is awesome. Man. It's really good. It's such a
Vegas
great
is
car
awesome.
community. It's
Yeah.
really fun. And with friends like, JP really kind of runs the air-cooled community for the Porsche crowd.
Sweet.
Has a 4-year now. Cars Un Cafe is 4 years.
We're going on
6?
5 or 6.
You did it before me?
Yeah.
Ah, you cheating ass bastard. Anyways, really
We
like
didn't live in Vegas when we started Cars and Cafe.
That's true. The coolest air-cooled car show in Vegas. It's the last Sunday of every month at the new location for the Good Wolf, which is across the street from the old location. Shameless
Okay.
plug. But anyway, as John and I stayed in touch when I had to come home to Vegas, we were constantly talking about BAT, and he's like, "Hey, would you do this podcast with me?" And I was like, "Are you kidding? Like, is the Pope Catholic?" For sure.
Heck yeah.
So, anyways, and here we are. We've canned it for a couple of years now. It's been kind of fun. Yeah.
No, that's cool. Yeah, and that's you beat me to the punch. That's exactly what it asked. Like, how the hell did you start this dog and pony show? And it's a really cool like concept. Like because that's you guys exactly said it. Like that's. Did you see this? Or this Honda Element went for $54,000. Like what? And just silly stuff that's gone on. And so that's super cool how you guys kind of piece that together.
The trick is that we wanted to do an automotive podcast, and
Sure.
you guys know how difficult it is to come up with specific topics.
Yeah.
And
Usually it's a fever dream is involved.
Like 2 a.m. the night before.
the mescaline binge.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Frank.
wow, you guys
already.
do a lot of
Yeah,
research.
so-
Yeah, I'm
Night
but that's the
terrors,
thing.
meat sweats.
I knew that we're lazy bastards, so how I didn't want to do much work. So it was like, well, there's hundreds of cars every single day. Just pick one
Totally.
and talk about that car. And just about every car, whether Deeb really is fantastic at. He really does know. He has an encyclopedic knowledge of all the details on just so many different cars, a wide range
Sure.
of cars. My knowledge is probably more narrow, but we like to make it really less about the technical stuff. We talk about all the technical stuff, we get that kind of out of the way,
Yep.
and then we try to find the romanticism. What is it that makes the car interesting? It's
Right.
not always the best car, it's not always the
Right.
most expensive car, it's not the fastest car, maybe not even the most rare car, but we try to, there is no criteria for what's the most interesting.
Right, yeah.
And JP and I are like a half gen older than you two guys, and so like the cars from our respective eras are all
Right.
starting to get their due. Like for us, we were in high school in the late 80s and
Sure.
early 90s, and those cars, especially like the Sense of Occasion, the DWA
Yeah.
guys, and the Radwood movement, if you could call it that,
Yeah.
have really brought these cars into the collector conscience. And now you see these cars getting celebrated. Obviously BAT is the gold standard, but on some of the lesser sites as well,
Yep.
they're starting to do well with these cars. And it's funny how these cars with like, I'd always want to pick one of those up. Well, man, if you snooze, they're going to become unaffordable.
Right.
Which is kind of what they were in high school, Like,
True.
And so it's just really neat to see these cars
you
get
got
their
that bell
due.
curve, right? Where
Totally.
like all the pre-war stuff or 40s and 50s stuff is like falling off a cliff.
Yeah,
Unless
because
it's truly special, right?
So the boomers are dying off, and their children don't want the cars.
Right.
And so there's this the domestic market pre-60s is really, really soft because it's flooded with inventory.
Yep.
And now, if you had to borrow money to buy these cars, interest rates have gone up, so the candle's being burnt from both ends. But the
Did
stuff
COVID
from
played a role in that? Like COVID killed off a whole bunch of
no, because it was
owners of
happening
those
before
cars?
that. It was happening.
Sure.
So we had a high water mark.
COVID was an inside job.
Yeah,
That's right.
It's
Exactly.
Political as we get
By
on the show.
like
Yeah.
some collector that
we could
like,
do a
wanted
whole
to
other
buy them all.
podcast on that. And he could go forever.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, but
Hey, we got time. Let it rip.
we had a high water mark for the collector car market in like 14 and 15.
Right.
And then from 2016 through 2020, the market had been softening or receding. It had been like falling out on a lot of even European cars.
Right.
Like as we marvel at the prices that air-cooled 911s are bringing today, we're constantly comparing them to the cars we almost bought in like 18 to 19 when they were relatively affordable.
Right.
But the domestic market has gotten hit hard. Now, again, the blue tip, tanker, Z06 or whatever
Right.
is still going to bring or set a new high water mark. But all the stuff underneath it is really
Tri-5 sedans
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah,
like that
you
were
can
going
pick-
for
you
like
can have your
50
choice,
grand or
yeah.
more.
This
Yeah.
is nothing new, though. The collector
Sure.
car market has always been driven
That's
by
how that
guys in the
tail off.
40s and 50s,
Yeah. Yep.
because those are the guys that have disposable income. Those guys that their kids are out of college,
Yep.
they're making the most money that they've ever made, and they can go back and buy the thing they
EV
wanted when they were
pills
young.
aren't hitting quite like they used to,
Yeah.
so they just
Yeah.
they really
you
got
got to mainline
You just
them.
no, you just
That's
double
true.
down, or actually if you chew them, well, never mind.
Wait, do you
Depositories.
main vein them, right?
Yeah, right behind the head, just jam it.
Yeah.
There's your straight man right there.
That's right. Hey,
That's the kind of show we get.
yeah, hey,
We're just waiting in.
Glad I got an airplane this morning.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Mainline.
Somebody
the
said
main-
fuselage.
talking about dicks.
What's new?
surprise.
Yes. Chadwick, you,
Hey, nice segue.
yeah. I
Another
feel like you got something. That's how he actually segues. Is he just
Let me clip
Absolutely.
myself.
No blinker.
So I'd like to ask our guests personal car fleet questions. I think that really is a insight to your personality. So what do you guys have currently? individually, personal fleets.
Oh man, I really
have
want
so
to
many
hear your
cars.
answer because you
No
have two cars you
excuses.
can't drive.
You are right up our alley. Everything else that doesn't drive.
Doesn't have to
Shit that
drive.
doesn't move. Oh boy, we know that.
Let's go for the empathy
all
from
right,
the audience
yeah,
first.
so
Tell them about your sad story.
It's hard to have everything. I have 2 Porsches that don't work.
I tried to drive one here today and it didn't start, so I
No.
took the Galant.
I yeah, so I bought it. There was a specific car that I've been wanting for years. A very good friend of mine owned this car for at least 10 years, and
Cool.
I've coveted it since I saw it.
Magnesium gold Group 4 wheels. That's all I'm going to say.
It's an '86 911 backdate, so it's
Okay.
a hot rod.
Looks like a long head.
It's fantastic. When I saw the car, I was like, oh my god! One day I'll, And I remember seeing the car the first time. Going, there's no way. One, he's probably never going to sell it, and two, he's going to want
sell
too
the
much
kidney,
for it.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but long story short, in I don't know. Last summer, I think it was, or was it? I don't know.
Really good time to buy a car.
Let's call it a year
Yeah.
ago. We'll just go with a year ago. My buddy who owned the car, he also has an amazing collection of 911s, and he's having 2 cars being built by Kelly Moss.
Oh, wow.
In
Okay.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
So he
And
hits
you
me
got
up.
up to see those
Well,
cars.
that's the
in
thing.
process,
He calls me and
Cool.
says, "Hey, do you want to go to Kelly Moss with me check out the cars?" I'm like,
and videotape.
"Don't
it.
throw me with a good time." So we get on a plane, we go there, and on our ride from the airport to to Kelly Moss, he mentions the backdate car, and his wife was with us. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm
You gotta get
thinking
through her,
I'm gonna need to make some room. Like, when you want to get rid of that backdate car one day." He's like, "I'm thinking about it." I'm like, "No, you're not." And
Cue the
so
record scratch.
his wife is very mean. So she's like, "Yeah, get rid of that car. It's getting ridiculous." So by the end of the trip, he said that, "Yeah, I think maybe I will." And a few weeks later, he calls me up, says, "Hey, we negotiate a deal. I buy an airplane ticket for like a week later.
Okay.
I get the money sorted out. It's
Yes.
all working out. I'm
Oh,
so
boy.
excited. I'm going to fly to Idaho and drive this thing back to Vegas." And this was on a Friday that I'm supposed to fly and get it.
Okay.
Thursday, I get the call. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, about that.
Changed his mind.
Changed his mind on me.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
hard.
Understandably so, but it doesn't make it any less frustrating, right?
Oh, I get it, but it sucks.
An emotional call, right?
Found
it
my
is.
gi. I was like, all right, not gonna. I mean, kind of
Yeah, that's like the
kind of
worst
a jerk.
possible
You know, like I wouldn't do that, but okay, all right, whatever. Life goes on, and like I said, he's be the first one to tell you he's a very mean wife, and I'm sure when he did that, she probably was up his rear end.
Foot and butt.
Like, what are you doing? So, like 3 months later, he calls me. Okay. So I went to go get it. This time, like, I'm buying an airplane ticket, and I'm not coming home without your car.
Yes.
So I go get the car. I drive it all the way. I drive it to Seattle, where I'm from.
Okay.
Originally.
Yeah.
I do this 2,000-mile road trip. I go down and see
Sweet.
you
And
at
we went,
Monterey.
and we
Car
went
Week.
to Works
Really?
reunion together.
Perfect.
You put the car on the
Nice.
lawn.
Everything's
Works.
great.
Yeah.
Everything's working out perfect.
I drive
like
it all the way back to Las Vegas.
Doesn't start again.
Not a single no, this car is flawless. Like, it's like this
Something's
is the
coming.
greatest car.
Yeah, something's coming.
yeah, I can
And
tell.
it ain't Christmas.
Exactly.
I get home, and the only thing wrong with the car, and I didn't even care, is I had like an old style, like circa 90s stereo. So this thing has
Sure.
got all this cool,
Yeah.
it looks like a
Got your Sony
70s hot rod.
Explode
Yeah, yes,
there.
exactly.
Yep.
I'm pretty
With the
sure
swimming dolphins
yeah.
and the F1 cars
Yeah, it's like,
cruising around.
I can choose a jet ski animation.
Oh, exactly. That's a good
Yeah.
idea. Yeah.
I'm like, that's got to go. So I bring it to
probably make an offer on that
my
idea.
favorite shop. Shout out to 900 Series in Las
Hey, Tony.
Vegas. Because
What is that?
I didn't want to bother my friends at our friends at God and Porsche of Las Vegas just to change the stereo.
Yes, would have
So
been
I bought one of those. What is it? The Continental, the one that looks. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
retro
the
Period
orange
correct.
light. Yeah.
Bring it in. They call me up and they're like, "Yeah, so Gary pulled the stereo out and he couldn't reach a wire, so he pulled the clock out so he could reach through to get the other wire."
Okay.
And when he pulled the clock out, he's like, "Huh." All the wiring was melted. It was fused together.
Something hard. Okay.
Something had happened. The car
Previous fire.
ran flawlessly.
Yeah.
It drove fine. All the gauges worked, but he's like, "I cannot believe this car didn't burn
Right.
to the ground when you tried to turn it on." So that was in September,
Yeah.
August.
Gone till
August.
September.
and I haven't had the car back since.
End of August, beginning of September.
They had to
September,
wire.
October, November,
Yeah.
December. So they've had the car over 4 months.
On those
A
cars,
new wiring harness is what it needed.
is it
Dash
a
off.
single piece, or is it like there's sort of like a bulkhead
So
connector at the
technically,
firewall? And it connects?
there are 3 different pieces. So there's the one in the front, the one in
Right.
the middle, and then the one for the engine.
Got it.
So everything basically from the front to the to internal, all that stuff was fried. The one on the engine, I guess, was okay, luckily. But they pulled the whole thing out, had it like stretched across this pegboard. It looked like a human nervous system. And
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
just like, oh my god! I put blinders. They're like calling me, telling me, oh, I had to do this. I'm like, I don't just. It's
Yeah.
gonna be
You
horrible.
can hear
This car-
EKG machine in the background barely.
This car is so cool though. It's triple black, ducktail spoiler. I said it incorrectly. I said Group 4 magnesium. So Group 4 makes knockoffs of the Campagnolos.
Okay.
The Campagnolos are magnesium. The Group 4s are alloy. He got the actual magnesium Campagnolos and then put a gold Porsche decal along the rocker,
The rocker.
to match the
That's cool.
wheel. I mean, the car is tits. It's really it's a sweet car.
Well, you're just an electrical surgery away.
Yeah, so they
your
keep
wild
telling
goats
me
all over
it's
again.
almost done. It's almost done. Now I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want. Am I going to have to?
they finding any-
I'm going to have to sell that kidney in order to pay that bill.
You're gonna have to
Are they-
renew the registration.
But so when the car
Those
went
Fondas.
in, I was like, okay, well this is going to be down for a while. So then I found 964
Man after
back in Seattle, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get that
964
one.
cab, yeah.
And
nice.
I drove it. It's Hank Moody's car. It's black on black, 964 cab. And I drive that all the way back. It's all fine. And now it was kind of running funny. Brought it to my guys there, and they've been so busy since it hasn't even moved.
What do you think? You think it's like a fuel issue? Because that's
No, it's probably
That's
a distributor
CIS car,
issue.
right?
No, a
not getting
964 is it's a dual. It's the dual hit, the dual plugs.
okay,
and
yeah.
it's really common that the distributors get messed up, or literally the spark plug wires, or it's probably something
Something
simple.
pretty
and it's
mundane,
probably something to do with that. But
Sweet.
all the maintenance on the car was fantastic. But whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a much longer answer to your question. 2 911s that are broken. I don't even know
For
what
4
the
months. He hasn't had either car for 4
1
months.
month.
He's been driving his
Yeah.
Macan. We did, what was the thing we did?
Professor run,
With the
right?
Professor
Yeah, for
run,
Luftgekühlt,
and he
yeah.
came out
Okay.
to LA for Luftgekühlt. I bought the car I drove today out of
Sweet.
LA, picked it up, and had it for Luftgekühlt weekend. And then he drove out from Vegas in his Macan GTS. And we did a Professor run. Ben, the Professor, we did this fantastic 500-mile day of rally. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And he's in the Macan, and I can't even keep up with him because he's in this cheater luxury car.
Yeah, those things are silly.
They're way too good.
Yeah.
New cars
They're
are just
way
outrageous,
too good.
yeah.
to-
It's-
Yeah,
it's
I
pretty
rented
ridiculous.
my younger brother. He had his bachelor party about a year ago, and in Atlantic City, of all godforsaken places. And I rented it was a 16 Macan Turbo through Toro for it was stupid cheap. It was like $54 a day or something dumb. I was like, well, why would I not do that? And good car.
Yeah.
Good car.
They are
what-
they're fantastic. They're just kind of they're not interesting.
Correct.
Right.
It's like I
They're-
don't look at it and
yeah.
go, oh, that thing's so
Did
awesome.
you see that
It's just-
Macan,
yeah,
bro?
I mean,
Yeah, it's like
Look at
never
that.
happened.
Look at that Audi.
and
Exactly.
like a lot of modern cars, they let you
CQ5.
kind
Yeah,
of put
totally.
yourself out on a limb. You're
Sure.
you're going so fast and being so ridiculous, you're felonious in order to kind of have a good time. You're chasing that dragon. It's
Right.
I don't know. Old cars are more fun because you
Agreed.
can be
Yeah.
crazier without
Yeah,
getting
like sub
too much
200
trouble.
horsepower and be like giggling.
Exactly.
Totally.
Which is that's
This
not
guy's
even
914 on the way here, though. Man,
Tell me all about it.
So, this car belonged to a guy in Southern California named David Keynes. David
Okay.
has a really cool old 911 that he's had for a long time. He's big in the Porsche scene. He's got a bus with a air-cooled 911 motor in it, a VW bus.
sweet.
And then he recently bought one of those Beck 904s with the kind of the wide flares and the dish wheels, and he
Gotcha.
put a 993 drivetrain in that car. I mean, that thing flies.
Death trap.
He
Yeah.
is scared to death. He's a legit driver. He's scared to death to give it more than half throttle because he thinks the car's going to kill him. But in the meantime, he's accumulated too many cars and limited by
What's that
garage
like?
space.
Yeah.
And so anyways, he decided to sell his 914 6 conversion, right? So it's a 74 2-liter. They put a 2.2 in it.
Okay.
It's got Weber carburetors and a 901 gearbox and a full roll cage and some really cool, almost like Gran Turismo seats with the rivets. I mean, they're beautiful. He
Very
and I
cool.
are going
Nice.
to fight over the seats and stuff like that. So it's a really nice car. So it's fun to drive. I picked that up at Luftgekühlt, so I've only had it for a couple months.
Okay.
I have a Mercedes, a 190E 16 valve. 2.3 16 valve. It's my
Brilliant.
third one. I
like
love
those.
this car.
Yeah,
It's
that
a
car
dark one.
dog leg
Time.
suspension.
Yeah, dog leg, the Get
gotta love
Drag
it.
5-speed.
So you have 2 cars with dog legs.
I do, yeah.
Whoa,
yeah,
that's a lot
yeah.
of dog leg.
Yeah, I walk around in circles because I can't
Yeah.
get out of
What
first
happens
gear.
if you have 4
Yeah,
dog
oh,
legs?
right, there
you
you
just
go.
become the dog.
Absolutely.
Dog the bounty hunter.
Start drinking
I
off
like
the
how you
floor.
say that.
Or out of the
Right.
toilet, I should
Zamboni. Yep.
say. What else do I have? 69 Alpha Duetto Spider.
okay.
That's a 1750 with fuel injection.
That's the motor to have, right?
Yeah, that car handles. It's not stiff, but it's shocking how much confidence you get from the car. That the longer you drive it, the more you'll like really lean on it,
Nice.
and the car keeps giving back. It's an interesting car. I have a love-hate relationship with it because the exhaust constantly comes inside the cabin. The design is beautiful to look at, but it's poor as far
Is
as
that
like
why you
wow.
offered me to drive it?
Yeah, he was high on
Absolutely,
fumes.
absolutely.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
get you just like
Influenced.
ethered, ethered up.
So the show's new name is Bid Nerd.
Right. Sole proprietorship.
He's trying to kill me. I'm just saying. I'm not firing him. He's like, I'm just
Weird. It
like,
took
that's a
this long
feature.
for you to be on to me. And then I have 2 more cars in process. So
In process.
I have my dad and I, way back in '98, bought a 72 Fiat 124 Sport Coupe with a
Okay.
1600cc double overhead motor, 5-speed rear wheel drive, and like a single tiny 27 millimeter carburetor on it, and this
Okay.
little air cleaner with like a little vent coming out the side. The car's hilarious, but I drive the snot out of it, and believe it or not, that car will go like 130 miles an hour.
Okay.
It's really fun.
What's it
In-
weigh, like 1,700 pounds?
No, but probably like 2,200 pounds, 2,100
Yeah,
pounds. It's light.
Yeah.
And they handle okay. It's not quite a GTV. It's sort of like the poor man's GTV, Alpha GTV, but it's a really good car.
Yep.
In Europe, that car was mega popular. The way, like, our generation always wanted a Mustang. Your generation probably always wanted an Acura Integra or something like that, or
Sure, yeah.
whatever. You know, like
Still do.
Yeah, exactly. This was a really popular car for
Right.
young guys and girls in all throughout Europe. The Fiat was a really popular car, but in the States, we rarely got them. So it's a really fun car. Flat hood, 4 headlight,
Cool.
and really cool. So I had that car for a long time, and my dad passed away. I sold all his cars.
Okay.
I sold this to somebody I knew, and a couple of years ago, I bought it back, but it's not running. So I'm
Okay.
planning to get that car going. And then I just purchased a 1975 Alfa Romeo Alfetta GT Coupe, which
Okay.
is the long hatchback,
Yeah.
4 headlights. So that's a 2-liter 5-speed, inboard brakes in the rear, DD-on suspension. Those cars, I've had 2 sedans and never really did much with them. I just kind of drove them and had fun with them. But this car, I bought Coney Yellows. I want to get bigger torsion bars and try to set it up
Yeah.
to do like a DWA rally and like really get after it
that'd be
and
awesome.
run
Yeah.
and see how that car goes. I bought ceramic coated headers for it off eBay the other day, and they're already on the car, and I'm very optimistic that car's gonna be really cool when it's all said and done.
No,
Take the
those are
bumpers
cool.
off it and see if it
those,
runs.
Those, like, that's like the 60s, 70s Alpha stuff is. I just, I did a photo shoot and had some good seat time in it was a 105, so it was a 71 Giulia 1300 Super
Yes.
sedan. It was originally came out of Sicily, and the
Yeah.
guy imported it. He bought it in Sicily and brought it in.
Right.
And it's just like, hey, let's have like I'm used to being around like Dawson 510s and
Yeah.
2002s, and
Same
it's just
class.
like a way
Yeah.
more interesting version
Yeah.
of those. And it's just like they got like weird quirks, and like the turn signals are funny, and the high beams are strange, and like, but it drives great. And it's like it wasn't a powerhouse, but it was a fun little car. And
Was
it's
it the
like,
original
okay, I get it.
1300cc motor? Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
can rev the snot out of that
Yeah,
thing.
it was a fun little buzzer.
It's like you're angry at it. You're like, but then
Right.
they go. You know.
Yeah,
And
Perfect
it's funny.
for rallies, though. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like
no,
super
that's
analog.
great.
You can
It's-
spend time at 100% throttle, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna murder yourself.
Short wheelbase. They handle. They're really easy to shift, and they're super responsive. The brakes are decent. And what's amazing is like a clown car. If you're sitting in the driver's seat, you can reach over and unlock the back door and open the back door
Yep.
on either side. Like it's that tiny inside. It's a really
Yeah, just
interesting-
don't wreck it at speed, and you'll be fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the goal.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So anyway, that's the
that-
garage at the moment.
Nice.
Are there anything that like, if all of a sudden because you guys are watching all these auctions, right? If something comes across the block and you're like, oh shit, look at the dude, I got to put a bid on that. Are there certain things that you're always have in the back of your mind, or like if one of these rolls around and it's like the price is right, that you feel obligated to
I
sell
wanna
that,
answer-
sell that kidney or
I
liver
want to
lobe or
answer for
whatever?
JP because he's got a really strong 2-car solution right now. Once those cars are running, first
Sure.
they're both black on black, which is his thing. Look how he's dressed.
Yeah, yep.
And he's got his 964 with conventional suspension, and it's a convertible because he's not a cabrio phobe.
Okay.
And then he's got his backdate, which is really cool.
Using the correct terminology.
But he would
Yep.
he would sell his soul for another like black on black 993, I imagine,
Yeah.
in a heartbeat because that is.
I mean,
as-
I'll gladly spend your money. So yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
should look. We
Cool,
should try and.
Yeah.
This car right here leads to go home. This Gunther Works.
Oh my
the,
God,
the,
yeah.
the thing is that like I have bought cars on auction sites on a whim. Early on when we were doing the show,
Right.
But that was in 2020, and remember at the beginning of 2020 there was a pretty
There was
big
some
lull.
stuff. Yeah,
Deals.
there was some
Yeah.
And it was like,
deals.
oh,
Yeah.
you can't pass it up. But now, auctions, it used to be, and that's been kind of the big shift from the digital auctions from when we started to now, which hasn't been that long. But it used to be that you go to BAT to get a deal.
Yep.
Yep.
It was
Now
buyer's
it's
market.
you
Now it's
put
seller's
your
market.
car
Or
on
the deal
BAT
tank
to
on
get a
P-Car.
premium.
Yeah.
A very good friend of ours from Las Vegas just
Mm-hmm.
pinged me on the way here. He had a G-Wagon, a G-Squared,
Yeah.
closed today.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, not a G-Squared. It's just a G63. It was like a
Okay.
2021.
Right.
So late model, car.
Not a first
He was hoping, his reserve was like 195. He would have been totally happy if it broke 200, and it went for 243 this morning. So congratulations,
Wow,
Jeff. He's just
Yeah, guess that
Jeff Jew?
FTX.
Oh man,
That
Shout out to
FTX crypto bro money is still out there to
There's
buy that
still
car, right?
some money
That's-
out there,
That's,
yeah.
that's who's buying that car.
Crypto
That was,
bros.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's have that conversation too, because it's just, but that's really what's been driving the market is just all this excess liquidity and all these different markets. And people are kind of going, well, at this point, where do you put your money anymore?
Yeah.
There's certain, real estate is pretty sketchy. Stock market is all
put
over
it
the
in
place.
Twitter.
Crypto is
Yeah.
clearly not what
Get
it
your
used to
junk
be.
stomped on. Yeah,
So
it's like, where
I
are you
think a
gonna-
lot of people are like,
So
like
true.
bullion. Like,
yeah,
what are you gonna?
gold doubloons.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Stop blowing up gold balloons right now, guys. Like,
Yeah.
But
JP will buy some if you know where they are.
if you're going
Prius
to,
cats. I'm looking
It's
to
an
buy
X on
Prius
my map.
cats. That's what I'm doing.
oh yeah, the cat guy.
if you're going to dump
God, I
money
have a
into
great story for
something, it may as well be something that you can enjoy.
Absolutely.
You know, if you're going to be stuck with an asset, a hard asset, you may as well be able to drive it around.
And that's the thing, is like if you can buy it right, and that's like the big
That's
riff,
the trick,
right?
though.
Because like you can go out, it is the trick, but it's
Yeah.
also kind of the fun of
That
it.
is
right?
part of the fun.
That's
yeah.
part of the game.
Yeah.
So you got to try and buy it right.
Really quick story to your Prius cat comment. And I called him. There was a black 930 Turbo for sale
Okay.
on like Auto Trader or Craigslist or something at the Toyota of Oakland dealership. So I ran over there to go
Yeah.
look at the car, and I go in and I talk to the sales guy that I had called ahead.
Toyota store.
And he takes me
The 930
to,
Turbo.
he takes me 2 stories up to the roof where they park cars.
Yep, I've
And
been
when
on
we-
that roof.
When we got up to the roof, 60 to 80 Priuses covered in dust. And I was like, what are these cars? And he goes, every one of them had their cat stolen.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
100%
A
believe that. Yeah, it's a lot
graveyard
of
for
them.
like 75 Priuses. And they were all Priuses. Like it was,
They're
it
sitting
was
there rotting away.
so
batteries
I
going
started
to
taking
pot,
pictures
you know,
and sending them
just-
to him. I was like, more interesting than 930 Turbo is this Prius graveyard because the cats are all stolen.
Yeah, one of my photography clients is this car donation company.
Yeah.
And so they get donated cars, and they've got like 8 of them sitting there.
Yeah.
Where people are, I got my cat stolen. I didn't have comprehensive coverage on it.
Yep.
I'm not going to spend $4,000 it's going to cost me to get a California cat
Yeah.
put on it.
Steal the
I'll
cat,
just
you're
donate
underwater.
it and go
Yep.
buy a
Totally.
whatever, a Buick. I
Cars
don't
for kids.
know. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's
Ronnie caught someone trying to steal his cats out of his G63 at the airport.
did he tickle them?
Did he hit the guy?
Nah, that guy ran off. He was like,
Yeah.
whatever.
No, you just kicked the jack stick.
Because Rami wears bigger boots than Gene Simmons from the lead singer of
Yeah.
Kiss.
Oh, yeah.
And so I can imagine he'd go curb stomp somebody with those things and not even get his hands
If you
dirty.
can catch him, how do you run in those things?
Oh, you can't. You just scare him off.
You
You
know.
blow the whistle.
His
Especially
entire
if you come in,
outfit comes
there's a lot of
from
buckles
Yeah,
and stuff
totally.
dangling around.
the goldfish get shaken.
So true.
Exactly. You're right.
His whole outfit comes
Powder
from
my
the Chris
hand.
Angel.
Get off my
gift shop.
cat!
Yeah. No,
Right.
Fuck your cat!
exactly. It starts
Love you,
hovering.
Rami.
Yeah, totally.
Salute.
Fuck your cat won't be misinterpreted by our listeners.
No, they're used to that kind of. Well, it's interesting because it's like, and you said it, it's like just how much stuff has changed from like the beginning of this, right? When the whole online stuff started talking right at the call the middle of 2020
Yeah.
to here we are now, the end of 22, and how much stuff. I mean, you've seen whole entire marketplaces come and go, right? With some of the, I mean, how many knockoff, just like D- grade auction platforms are around? I mean, there's like, when I saw one today, it was like Shiftgate Auctions. I'm like, what?
Shiftgate's been around for a while.
Have they been around?
Yeah,
They're
so those
not
guys-
new. Those
yeah.
guys, you know,
There was like a tractor and there was some weird stuff on there.
Yeah, they're up in. So the guys at Shiftgate kind of dabble in both the Canadian and domestic market.
Cool.
And so they're like, when you look at their thing, they have 8 to 12 cars currently live over the course of like, I think their auctions are like 10 days.
Right.
Half those cars will be in Canada. But even if you're here in the States and you want to buy one of those cars, they will help you bring the car in to your respective state. The only place that really gets weird is for us in California, where it's nearly impossible to bring in any car that wasn't originally destined for the U.S. originally.
Right.
So that can be a problem. But
The old
if you're in
Montana
Nevada
LLC,
or any of those
yeah.
other things,
That's a
you can
cool
buy a
setup.
really cool car there and
Because
bring it in.
I have seen some
But
stuff
that's their.
go on.
I think that's what differentiates
That's what their
them.
deal. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's smart and that's cool that they do that because I've seen on other auction platforms, whether it's Cars and Bids, Bring a Trailer or something, where I've seen some stuff where it's like, oh, that went for like surprisingly low, and I look, I'm like, oh, it's in Ontario, or
Yeah,
something
exactly.
like that, and that's
Yeah.
why. And it's just like I wonder if there's
Exchanges.
something to be done there, where
Yeah.
like if you can get it from there to here.
Yeah.
And you get really good at being able to bring something into the country. There's
Yeah.
probably, you go buy it there
You
and
just
we'll
want
sell
a
for
Pontiac
25% more.
You just want a Pontiac Firefly, man.
It's not
Yeah.
that
If the
Firefly.
if the car is older than 25 years old, that's a cakewalk. It's
Yeah.
paperwork, and somebody brings it across the border,
Right.
and you should be able to register it here. Again, except California,
Right.
which is really
Yeah.
tough. But if the car is younger than 25, then you need to talk to somebody before you bid, because you just don't want to get into a snafu where it's just really expensive and you got to do inspections at the border and inspections at your DMV. And
Dog
it's
approved,
just
this and that. You gotta swap out headlights and
And
some
every
shit.
state's got its own sort of protocol for that. But the older than 25, that exemption nationally is fantastic.
Yeah, because it's like, if you can bring something over and there's money to be made. And I always wonder too, since we're talking about like the I don't know, the ultimate lesser players as far as these auction sites, I always wonder if like there's money to be made on like, hey, you find something with like trash photos and it seems like a decent car on whatever that, or like Hemmings or something like that.
Yeah.
And if you buy it and you clean it up, maybe put fresh tires on it and then just do the whole photo treatment, put it on and bring a trailer 3 months later.
Jeez, the first
if
year,
there's big money to be made there.
the first
I
year
feel like there is.
The first year we did
instinctively.
it, and part of our valuation process was comparing what we thought the car was going to sell for to
Right.
what we felt the real retail value of the car was
Sure.
before the market really took off. And JP, to his credit, did it literally, like executed on like, I think that car would be worth blah, and he would pick up cars from time to time, clean them up, do better marketing for the cars.
Yep.
Much better buzz and obviously like digital video and stuff, and it was fantastic.
I think part of the problem, though, with what you're talking about, the
Yeah.
idea of like, okay, I'm going to grab a car from this lesser platform and then try to flip it on a better platform. The problem is with those lesser platforms, the cars, you can't get a good deal on one of those platforms. The cars just don't sell. They just
But I mean,
FTS.
Yeah.
So because most people, if you're sitting there going, okay, well, why wouldn't you just go to BAT in the first place? Usually it's because the wait's too long.
Right.
You don't want
That's
to compete
a
with all the
real
other
thing.
cars, but the wait is really the number one problem, right?
Yep.
So that's how P-Car Market kind of gets in there. That's how Cars and Bids
Car goes
competes.
live overnight,
Yeah.
Cars and Bids and P-Car Market were in early enough, and they the problem with something like Shiftgate and all of the other sites
Mark.
that have come and gone, Mark
Yeah.
and all the other ones,
Stratus.
is they have no
Silver Arrow.
mechanism to promote
Yeah.
to an audience, right? Even Rad for Sale, who we all love
Yep.
those guys,
Yeah.
and they've had mad success with Radwood, but Rad for Sale failed because when they launched it was in the middle of COVID,
Right.
and so they didn't have the audience that they had.
Such a hard nut to crack.
Yeah,
It is, yeah.
when you're out doing an event every month and you have tens of thousands, if not 100,000 people showing up to an event, you can get that audience, you can
Right.
reach that audience, but they were the opposite of
Yeah.
that.
Or if you have 10 million YouTube subscribers.
Right,
Sure,
like a Doug DeMuro. Doug DeMuro
That's
gets
a smart move.
how
He's
many
making
millions
all
of
kinds
views.
money now, yeah.
He has a commercial for his
made it.
platform.
Yeah.
P-Car Market, and I have a lot of things to say about P-Car Market. A lot of them aren't exactly positive. But the thing I will say about them is that they have worked their butts off
People driving this out.
to promote, and they have spent the money
Right.
to get to build an audience, and they did it. And so they have varying levels of success. But all the other ones, they pretty much have no chance. So if a car's on one of these other platforms,
Right.
it's just going to fail to sell. It's
Right.
not going to meet a reserve. So because
But I mean, if you catch one, like I was, and not to do this live because I wasn't planning on doing this, but I had this up, and so I was showing this guy. I texted this guy last night. So on Hemmings, okay,
yeah,
it's a no reserve,
Starion.
88 Starion, 68,000 miles. There's currently 49 minutes left.
Oh yeah.
It's at $9,000, and it's a no reserve, which they say weird. They'll always say it's.
gonna sell,
down.
huh?
But I was looking, I was like, this car.
Where's that located again?
It's in like San Bernardino County, so
many
Southern
miles?
California.
That's under 70.
One owner car. The pictures are trash.
Perfect.
The description is marginal.
Perfect.
If one person asked one question and it went unanswered.
Good question.
It was, hey, if I'm in California and I buy this, will you give me? Will it come with the California smog? Which is a good question.
Yeah,
and it went unanswered.
Shit.
And I just look at this, and there's videos of it running and driving, and they're shaky and terrible, but it seems to be a decent car. And I'm looking at comps on BAT, and it's like 18 to 21,
Yeah.
like kind of all day, if it is what it seems to be. And I'm like,
Good thing this isn't a live show.
I know,
right, yeah.
right? And so I'm
You'd have
in my
like
head.
6 people going
I
in there
know.
trying
Yeah.
to bid against
Well,
you.
And so I'm looking at
13.
this, I'm like, man, because they tack $500 on top is their fee, so at under 10 grand,
That
you
might
know,
be
can
an
you give it a
opportunity.
spit shine, maybe some fresh tires and fluids, and
Where is
run
that
it
car?
on?
What part of the country?
This is Southern California.
Oh,
It's
it's Southern California.
some place
Yeah.
called Blue Jay, California. You know, one owner car. She passed away.
Let's go
It's
get
been
it.
sitting in her
Yeah.
garage.
In
Let's
between-
go. We'll split this. We'll split this yacht 4 ways.
Do it.
It's in between Green Eye and
Yeah,
Okay.
that means nothing to me.
Yeah, it's nowhere
no, I
near
mean, that's
Brown
a-
Eye though.
Yeah.
That's a different. That's a
It's
different location.
interesting
South
that car.
of the
Like
border.
that was one of the early cars that Radwood tried.
Okay.
And
I
it
did see
failed
that.
to
I remember it was
sell.
a green one, right?
Yeah,
it was like a green
I
remake
remember
kind of
having
money.
not
But
seen one of-
they
and we
souped
reviewed
that car up, didn't they?
Yeah,
Didn't
that
they
one was
have mods and
mods,
stuff? Yeah, that car probably
This
ripped.
one's definitely
Yeah, and so it's like it's interesting, and so I see something like this, I'm like, because Hemmings, I've actually sold a few things on Hemmings.
Have you?
I kind of were like, BAT didn't want to run this, Cars and Bids didn't want to run this. It's like you go down the totem pole, right? And if it's like a low dollar thing, I'm running for one of my clients, just no reserve or something.
Yeah.
I've run a few things on
Cars
here.
and Bids would totally run that.
Oh, yeah, Cars and Bids would eat
That's
this
what I'm always
car up.
concerned about these sites, though, is like they got rejected from a bigger name, right? Because maybe the
I'm
title
curious.
isn't as clear as
that
it should
thing-
be.
PAT.
But that thing's so
Nobody
stock.
rejects
I wouldn't
anyone
think
anymore.
anybody would reject that.
Yeah.
No,
And
yeah,
It's a
but-
manual, right? It's not a
Yeah,
it's not an
manual,
automatic?
one owner. I mean, it seems like a decent car, and so I see
Seems like a
something
good
like
find.
this,
Good job.
and it's just like, would I be able to scoop this thing up and maybe take it on the next
Yes.
DWA rally,
This
and
is-
then right afterward, just
It-
immediately
We
get out
just
from
met,
under it for.
but from what little I know of you, if you bought that car, you wouldn't flip it. You'd hang on to it. That car,
Oh,
that's
I would have to flip it though. I'm bleeding
I'd
cars
be
out of my
working
ears.
on it.
yeah, it's a cool
Dude,
car.
just
and
when
it's
I
stock.
see you typing
That's
that
what's
bid
nice.
in a second, I'll know.
We'll see.
I love
We'll
the
see.
velour seats
gonna
too.
get quick.
All right,
Second.
so here we go.
Yeah, let's hit it.
What's
Oh, we're
Michael
gonna play
D,
the
what's
game.
your number? Let's do.
Yeah,
let's
I think
do,
that car. I think that car is gonna, and it's a no reserve.
No reserve.
I think somebody's gonna
We're at
steal
9
that
grand
car
right now.
for like $13,000.
How much time is left?
46 minutes.
46 minutes. I'm gonna say it barely breaks 10. Goes 11 and a half.
I was
11
gonna
and a half,
say,
you're
I'm going
buying
to
it.
undercut you. I was going to say 11 flat on the head.
You know what?
Yeah,
You know what I
that's good.
you know what I
12,
think is going to
11,
happen?
13, yeah.
I think it's not going to see another bid because it's Hemmings.
possible.
Are
I
you
think
the high
nothing's
bidder?
going to touch. No.
You're buying that car
So whoever
today.
Mitsui is,
Dude, you're going to be the next bidder.
Yeah, you're
yeah.
gonna be the next
Yeah,
one.
well,
Somebody,
so
you're
it's
gonna bid on it.
$9,002.
And I
When
think
you
it's
go to
gonna
the
say-
bathroom, I'm gonna bid on it for you.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll bring you up.
But yeah, I think because Hemmings is funny. Like, there's not a single comment. There's like 9 bids or whatever. There's one question that went unanswered. And having sold a few things on Hemmings, like if you get 2 comments for the course of, and they run for 2 weeks. This is a 2-week auction.
Why did you decide to run something on Hemmings, and what were your results?
So I
ran
I might even be able to look. We can do this in real time. So I end up most of what I've sold on any of these auction platforms are not actually physically mine. So for instance, my car donation client, they'll get some really interesting stuff, and it doesn't make sense to send to like Copart or something. And so I will help them out, and I'll do all their photo and video work, and we'll sell. Like we've got this right now is about ready to go. Is a '95 Cadillac sedan DeVille Concourse with
that a-
51,000
Is that a
miles.
front wheel drive?
Fancy.
Yeah, buddy, North Star. First year of the North Star.
Yeah.
Torch
Such a
steer.
reliable
Torch
engine,
steer.
So, for instance, like I sold this. It was an '89 C25. The paint's burnt on it, but it's like 96,000 original mile, 94,000 original mile truck. Cars and Bids was like,
It's a Amish mobile.
Yeah, Cars and Bids was like, if the paint was good, we'd run it, but the paint's dead, so we don't want it, which I get. And so we ran it on here. Same with this North Star Cadillac. They're like, North Star Cadillac, I don't want to. $7,000 for that North Star Cadillac.
40,000 miles original.
Those cars aren't worth anything.
That's crazy.
It's
Well, yeah, okay, so $7,000.
These are all domestic, by the way.
that North Star,
Yes.
the one you just talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a what year?
01.
01 North Star Cadillac, what?
It's a DeVille. Sedan DeVille.
And it went for $7,000 with
$7,000.
40,000 original miles.
Yeah.
Was that a good result or a bad result? Because I don't know.
Good result, because I think if I tried to sell them for them on like Facebook Marketplace, it'd be like a $3,500 car.
And sit for 3 months.
Yeah,
Okay.
because everyone's afraid of those V8s because they just
Yeah.
pop.
Yep.
They break head studs and then they blow up and they're a mess. This was
seems
one
like
I'm
a lot of
surprised
cars,
they
man.
didn't take. So I sent this to Cars and Bids and they didn't want to take it because I don't remember why. It was a '94 Chevy Silverado with like 120,000 miles, very
Car looks
clean one-owner
beautiful.
car.
Can you see that, Jay?
We got 97. We got 97 and a half for it,
Okay.
which I think is all the money for it.
Yeah.
2-wheel drive, very clean.
Trucks are always
77.
popular, but trucks can't never most
Yeah.
of these auction sites, they say enthusiast cars.
Yeah.
That's really the one common denominator between
Yeah.
all the three of the big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got, unless it's like
the-
hyper low miles.
Well, the trucks that are doing good are like the K5 Blazers and the
Yes.
old Broncos. Those
Yes.
are bringing like stupid money.
But those
this stuff is
those are
interesting.
enthusiast trucks.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, a Silverado is not an enthusiast vehicle.
Right.
There's just no way you can make that argument.
Yeah, and so some of this
yeah.
stuff. So like, there's this '77 240D Benz
Sure.
that I
Okay.
ran, and this was I think this was in like
Nice
2019. It's a 4-speed. The guy flew in, so it went for $5,400, which I think is good. It was like 200,000 mile car.
Yeah.
4-speed
Barely
manual.
broken in.
The guy flew in from Austin and drove it home.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, you did.
That's the right way to do it.
And absolutely. And so they don't want to. So like these charity cars, a lot of times like the title will be in the name of the donor with a signed over transfer document to the charity, and then another transfer document to
BAT
them.
doesn't
And
want
BAT
to
is
do
like,
it.
I don't want to touch
Yeah.
it. Like
Yeah.
we had negotiations with it. They're like, I understand you're on the up and up. Like we had the full paper trail, but they're like, we don't want to get involved, which I get.
Yeah.
And some of the other platforms, like as long as I prove that I'm not like stealing cars and I have the paper trail, and with like Cars and Bids, I got in there with them on the ground floor. Like they were running for a month when I think I ran the first car through them, because they were able to. They now wouldn't, if someone new came to try and do that, they'd be like, no.
Yeah.
But like, I've got a tracker. I think I've sold 40-something cars with them.
Wow.
And
Let's
so
mix it up a little bit, Frank.
we should.
You're covering some very good prices, and I want
Yes.
some hot takes from you guys because you
Oh.
see a lot of interesting stuff.
That's why I'm here. Honestly, the hot takes.
What's going for too much money now?
Oh man.
Be as hot as you want to be.
No, takes. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's hear it. What's way too hot right now?
Well, while he's thinking of an
Dialogue,
answer, I just want to say the Hemmings.
Yes.
To finish that up,
Yeah.
we on our
What's your-
first row of the
what's your
show, we had one of the execs was going to come and talk to us on our show. And
However.
I think they had an assistant kind of set it up, and the guy like pings and he's like, "Okay, here are the things I want to talk about." I'm like, "Okay, you clearly haven't watched our show,
Right.
Because that's not how our show is. We don't
Yep.
sit there and just have a conversation about talking points. You know, we like to bring third nerds on all the time,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they play the game. It's
Yes. Right.
still our show is Price is Right,
Right.
with old cars.
Yes.
Right.
We'll have to do that one day.
Yeah, we got to
Absolutely.
get you guys
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
in third
Mess
nerds.
it all
It's
up.
terribly
For
fun.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone who's ever come on has been like, "This is like way too much fun."
Yeah.
Perfect.
So yeah, but the Hemmings guys, they just had no concept of what the hell we're doing. Like, yeah, maybe this isn't for you. Okay, so what's going for that 240 that
You've
just
had time
sold
to
the other
think,
day? or-
Well, yeah. So somebody just sold a collection of Z's, and a couple of those cars brought like over 150,000, which is the closest big numbers we've seen since that Franklin car we talked
Yeah.
about at the opening of the show.
Yeah.
So mint original Z's are bringing absurd money. So like a 240 brought 165,000, and he and I joked. I sent him the result, and I was like, did you see this? I'm like, that to me is still a $16,500 car.
Sure.
Now this guy got another zero. You know what I mean? Like,
Weren't they like
holy
25? The reissue ones
longest
from
from
Nissan
Nissan,
when
yeah.
they redid them. It's like,
Yeah.
here's a Nissan restored one. It's
Right.
immaculate. And it was like 25 grand.
Yeah, I imagine some of
Now you're
those
paying
with the
10
with the
times
paper
that?
provenance would probably bring
A ton.
Yeah, 4 times that money. So yeah, Z's are ridiculously hot, and it's even starting to bring up now 260s and 280Zs,
Right.
which used to be a steal, now they're not. The car that really, and it's not a head scratcher because I do get it. There's only so much inventory to go around.
Sure.
But manual Ferraris are absurd, and it used to be like a manual Ferrari brought like a 30% premium. So theoretically, if you looked at let's just say $100,000 355 with an F1 gearbox, a Berlinetta with low miles and like one owner or something. If that was like a $100,000 car, you'd expect to pay $130 for the manual version of that exact same car.
Absolutely.
Apples to apples.
That was double.
Well, now that F1 car is like, it's moved up to 120, and the manual one now brings 250 to 300 grand. That Canyon
Delta,
doesn't make any sense. That Delta doesn't make any sense to me because you can go buy the F1 and for 30 grand, even if you paid 40 grand, you could do a manual conversion.
Right.
And the manual conversion will still bring like 165, 175. But the original
Seems like
manual
a good
car,
And that was sacrilege forever
Right.
in Ferrari world.
Right.
I don't
Absolutely.
think the F1s are holding their value, though. I mean, the F1s, you're actually seeing a correction, I think.
right? But the manuals keep leaving.
Yeah.
Like it's just like even
But
if
it's a gated gearbox.
yeah, and again, and they're
Clank.
fantastic driving cars, 430s, 360s, and the 355s. But the premium for the manuals, you asked, what are people paying too much money for?
much.
I just, is that going to maintain? Is that going to hold? Or F1's going to come up? Or will manuals recede and some guys are going to get left holding the bag? So I just that one.
Interesting.
Ponder that.
Bitch bucket Volkswagen Cabriolet.
Oh my God! Yeah, 25, 30 grand now. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, they're breaking.
Are they
their-
going that much? I haven't looked.
Yeah,
Are they
we've seen a
seriously pulling
few
that?
have broken 30. Was there one that went 40? I mean, it was like this
that's
is-
crazy.
And we're not
Yeah.
talking like 10,000 or 500 delivery miles or something
Yeah.
like that. We're talking about 30, 40,000 miles,
nice
70,000
original
miles,
car.
nice
With
original
manual.
car with a manual,
Yep.
breaking 30. It's like, what? I mean, and I do kind of like those cars, but not for that kind of money.
Yeah, I think a Mark II Jetta GLI should be that
Like a
kind of
16
money.
valve, right?
Right, a
Like
16
that's
valve.
what it is.
Yeah. In what's that green? I like Calypso green.
Calypso
Oh,
green.
Yeah,
God.
the kind of
Be
minty
Still My
almost,
Heart. Yeah,
It's
it's
a good
like
color.
seafoam or whatever. It's interesting. Jason Kamiss is a big Volkswagen head. He's got his
he's
Scirocco,
got it.
but he's got a white bitch bucket that he slipped a 16 valve motor in, and he just took somebody.
sweet, right?
He just put a video on Instagram yesterday that he's got a passenger videotaping them, and they take like an off ramp, and Kamiss drifts
the
the
wheel.
car,
Yep.
drifts the car, and the guy in the passenger seat is like, "Oh my God!" And he's like, "You feel that?" And they're like cracking up
That's
because
fun.
they're in this car that if you pulled up next to him, you make fun of him, and
Right.
then he'd smoke you in that car
Oh,
because it
absolutely.
rips, with the 16 valve motor.
No, that's cool.
Pretty
That's-
funny. But short of that, it doesn't make sense that those cars are bringing that kind of money over like
a
Corrados
GTI.
or GLIs or something.
Corrado,
Yeah. Like if that's that,
Yeah.
then that Calypso green Jetta GLI should be 40 grand, and they're not.
They're not.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Volkswagens, like Mark IIs, but all Volkswagens in general have really struggled on these
true.
auction platforms, and it's surprising of all of them to start popping or cabrios,
Right.
Yeah, recently.
or cabriolets to be specific. But I don't get. I mean, it's still, if you're going to sell a Volkswagen, you're better off selling it on the Samba than you are on any
Or
other platform.
Vortex,
That's one of the
right?
few
Yeah.
cars that I would say, all right, you have the nicest fill in the blank Volkswagen.
Yeah.
Don't bother with
Yeah,
VAT.
unless it's like a Mark
Yeah.
1 GTI or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
With
And
like 0 miles.
that's
yeah,
the other
and they
thing.
pay
Provenance.
you to take the shots. You know what I mean? They need a pro.
In the
Yeah.
time that we've been in the few years that we've been doing this,
Right.
we have yet to see even a single Mark 1 GTI or Scirocco that was clean.
Yeah.
That's
That
what I
was
was going to
missed.
say.
Original.
They
These got modded
simply
horribly.
don't
Yeah, beat the snot.
exist. It's,
Yep.
We've never seen one. We've seen some come through, and the numbers were kind of higher, or whatever. We've seen super clean Corrados,
Yeah.
but never
those
seen a
fail to
16
perform.
valve
No
Scirocco.
money.
Yeah, no money.
No one cares.
Yeah.
I love a Corrado.
We've
They look
seen
gorgeous.
a couple
Yeah.
of cars imported from other markets that we've covered that were really cool. There
That
was that
Japanese,
Full
Yeah, that Japanese car
Yeah,
that had
that
the confetti interior. I was
Yeah, and
you
it
should
had
have bought
a-
that
that's
car.
very dope.
It was a Japanese market Scirocco, or not Scirocco, Corrado, but it
Yeah.
had the 2-liter 16 valve.
Yeah,
From
Yeah.
the factory. That's
Right.
the way they came.
Yeah,
That's
with
the
a-
way they
with a
delivered
cloth
there.
confetti
Instead of
interior
the
that
piece
we
of
never
crap
got here.
G40 or whatever that
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
was.
the
Or
G60.
G60 or whatever, the
Yeah.
supercharger piece of junk.
Yep.
Or the problematic VR6.
And you know it was impeccably maintained.
Absolutely, as
At
Japan
no
does.
miles.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think it
Probably
like,
left-hand drive even, yeah?
Yeah,
it was left-hand
Yep.
drive, and I think it FTS'd or something like that for 16 grand, or maybe it did sell.
You should, yeah.
Dude, I should have bought that.
we should have bought that car.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah. Lots of ones that got away. That's for sure.
That's right.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that may or may not get away,
Oh boy.
I don't know if you guys are up to speed on
guys like games, right?
on what we do with our print ad quiz here.
Print ad quiz.
There's a quiz.
Okay.
We're
He's
gonna
hiding his
ask some
screen.
questions.
So
Yeah,
I can
wrestling
see.
again.
Yeah, I can
Okay.
see. All right. Are the
It's
rest
got these porn pop-ups too.
Exactly. We have
text these
the
out
grinder
real quick.
notification.
Goats?
So you get yourself ready over there.
two midgets, one podcast?
Tell me that's not a good
Exactly. Yeah. Is that soft serve? So while he's gearing up over there.
Too many spots for my taste.
So while he's getting his sorts, so this is how this works for the
6 to
uninitiated.
12 real quick.
What we do here is we call this our print ad quiz, where Chadwick here will pull up a piece of automotive print advertisement from the 80s, 90s to early 2000s. Okay. He's going to read the print ad with redacting out like the make and the model of the vehicle, and it will be upon you two gentlemen you'll have 3 guesses to try and figure out what the make and model of this vehicle is.
Are these print ads like classified ads?
Like
or
out
are
of
we
a
talking about
magazine.
advertising.
Like out of
advertising.
an actual OEM advertisement out of a
Yeah,
magazine.
like Porsche, no substitute, and because it
kills
because-
bugs fast.
Yeah,
The
because it
name
is
of-
a Ferrari.
The name of my other channel, Derfascination.
Yep, plug away, baby.
Derfascination on YouTube. Go and check that out.
Oh, yeah.
We've
We
got,
brought you some
Porsche Road
Durfoss
Trip and all that stuff.
decals.
Got it.
yeah.
Look at this. I got
We named that everyone. It's Der Fascination. It's the wrong German article for the, so it means the fascination in German. It was supposed to be defascination if it was correct German, but that would be
Correct.
spelled D-I-E, and we know all the Americans
yes.
would be like,
That's
"Die-
true.
fascinated with death." So we
Like
didn't
the
go.
Simpsons, die Bart die, right?
Correct.
Right.
We went. We
Right.
went.
Choke on
We
a
went
Butterfinger.
with the Wiener Schnitzel approach. They were
Yeah.
Der Wiener Schnitzel originally, but that came from an advertisement for the release of the 993. Was 911% fascination.
Look at that.
So
I've never heard you say that after
Never
all
heard
these
me
years.
tell that story?
No, that's a great
Where it came
story.
from,
A
yeah.
learning moment here
Yeah,
on
so,
the
anyways, I have.
And now deep thoughts.
Okay, all right.
Jack Handy.
You guys
Let's hit us.
ready to rock
Let's-
that?
And
we're
so
playing
one
games
last
here.
thing. So here's how it's going to work.
Yeah.
So you will get 3 guesses.
Yeah.
Okay. If you make a guess and it is incorrect, you can ask for like a hint.
Oh, okay.
And then I will be over here. I don't know what the ad is, but I'm just going to be over here looking in the corners. And I can be like a phone a friend. So if
Got
you guys need help, I might not be able to help because I don't know what the ad is. But feel free to ask away.
And if you get it right on the first try, this is the grand prize?
yes, you win a Gunther
Gunther
Works.
Works. Yeah,
yeah.
9/11.
Yeah, you get to look at it.
Exactly. You gotta caress it.
Are you guys ready for this?
Yeah.
Do it.
So I'm kind of catering to our guests.
No,
here.
hold on. Wait.
Hold up.
Wait. Do we have to like
Stop.
hit a buzzer, like, or do we just
you
blurt
have-
out
do you have-
answers?
you go
like,
first.
Is
I
You have
there
a clock. You can put a stop.
I can put a timer. We'll
So
put
we
out-
do a 10-minute.
We do a 10-minute timer.
Oh,
just
okay.
after I'm done with the
You
ad.
can't-
You won't need a timer with us.
You can always confer with the magic 8 ball, which is
But I
right
mean,
here.
do either one of us go, or do we have to like?
You guys are a
okay.
team. You guys can talk
Oh,
this
we're a
out.
team.
Yeah, you guys get.
We
the
don't
whole
work
thing.
well
You
together.
guys, you have the answer right there. How does this work?
We don't work well together.
No, this is not competitive. This is just.
All right. Okay.
All right,
Too much
Chadwick,
overthinking it.
Are you ready? Are you going to read the ad?
Clock starts as soon as I finish the ad. So we're starting off. I'm catering to you guys' strengths already. We're starting with the price of the vehicle. Right at the beginning.
crap.
So here we go.
Yeah.
Where'd you get the price?
We didn't say we're good at guessing.
No, It's okay. yeah.
The numbers.
It's okay.
by
We're here
the
to
way.
exploit
We just do.
people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Explain us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
$5,500 and built to stay that way. So just start
That's
start
a,
working the
that's
gears.
okay. Whatchamacallit? What's his name? Lee Iacocca. That's a K car.
Oh, there you go.
We got guess. It's not a guess.
That's not. I'm just feeding him.
Final answer, Bob.
Introducing the only $5,500 car engineered like a blank. The blank blank.
Mazda 626.
No, it's gonna be the Hyundai was $5,500.
Hyundai.
And
Yeah.
they called
You have
it.
to say it like you're on fire.
Yeah, and they called it the Lamborghini. The Countach was the Hyundai Wing because the Wing cost more money as an option than a brand new Hyundai in period in the 80s.
Look at that.
So
Makes
I'm going to
sense.
say that.
Good
What was the Hyundai? What was the first car that they had? Was it Hyundai
The Elantra? Not the
Elantra?
Elantra.
Elantra?
I thought it was their- I thought it was the
Sonata?
Sportage.
No.
Sportage? No, Kia
No,
was
that's
the
Kia.
Sportage.
Oh,
Kia
that's
was
the
the Sportage.
sport. That's a
Was it the
Kia.
Excel?
Excel, thank you. Yes,
Hyundai Excel?
the Had a
And what,
Mitsubishi
so give me
motor.
read us the ad again, please.
Okay, so that was just the beginning. So
Yeah.
it's reliable, durable, and built to last. What's more, the blank offers a range of standards, including front-wheel drive.
Ooh, that's a really good guess.
Let's see.
Yeah, that would be 55.
There's a lot more to come. Let's
Yeah,
see.
I've got
Actually,
some
for
good
5,500,
details.
you could have got 3
How
Yugos.
many guesses
Well,
do we
let's
get?
get
You only
let's
get
get him
3.
through the ad. Let's get him through the
Yeah,
ad.
let's get through the ad.
Gotta get all- we
We
gotta
are
get all the-
discussing our first answer.
There you go.
Very
Yeah.
preemptive.
Let's get all the stats.
Okay, so front-wheel drive. This is the important stuff.
Yeah.
A surprisingly roomy interior, and heritage of customer satisfaction. We can't
satisfied.
qualify that statement. Not to mention a 9-valve 3-cylinder engine that's as powerful
there we go.
as it is economical.
Yeah.
38 miles per gallon city, 41 highway. Frank already knows it. Of course, we wouldn't be doing the blank justice if we left out another reason to buy one. The car is truly fun to drive. That we can't qualify either. So think about it. Why spend your disposable income on a disposable car when you can put your money into a much more lasting investment? The new blank blank.
What are we talking about, guys?
Chadwick, that's a first of all, I love the game,
Yeah.
and that's a great.
Don't hit
ad.
the player, hit the game.
Oh
Yeah,
my god,
dude,
always said that.
10
That's
minutes
hilarious.
on the
We're
clock.
going.
So
We're going.
this is where we
6
get
seconds.
exposed.
They were like
because
all
it's a
about
three.
the Yugo,
Yeah,
right? And then, so what else has a?
Frank's a one-time use lifeline on this
So
one.
the Justy has a 3-cylinder.
The Justy, was that a Subaru?
That was a Subaru.
That's a
There
good
was
guess.
the
See, I don't know.
Metro or something. The
Geo Metro?
Geo Metros. I think they had 3 cylinders.
Did they?
Yeah, I think.
See, and this is
sure.
where I'm blank. I don't. A 3-cylinder car would never have interested me, so I have no idea who made 3-cylinder cars. Can you give us a
The
decade?
Daihatsu was also.
I'll wait till you guys
the-
guess.
Oh, the charade.
The Charade. Yeah,
Charade?
because
Don't
wasn't the
mispronounce
Daihatsu
it.
and the
Don't do
Justy
Daihatsu.
were the same thing,
Charade.
weren't
What's that?
they? The Daihatsu,
Yeah.
the Daihatsu and the Justy were the same. I believe Daihatsu
Oh,
made
yeah.
the Justy.
Yeah.
But 3-cylinder. Not the Yugo. Jeez.
See, I keep going back to like, I'm so dumb. I keep going back to like the BMW
$5,500
Isetta as like a 3-cylinder or something. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Like 3-cylinder cars, I have no knowledge of that.
It is. I don't know if it's covered in the rules. 80s, 90s, early 2000s.
That's your time
80s,
period.
90s.
80s,
So
90s.
nothing
Well,
else.
this has to be
Yeah,
the
but I mean,
80s.
at
This has to
$5,500
be
bucks,
the 80s.
a brand new car
Yeah.
hasn't been $5,500 since. I mean, they
The
kind of-
80s.
The
they
name was built to
those
last,
80s
okay?
and maybe early
The
90s.
thing that
yeah.
gets me is I don't think it's the Hyundai because that Hyundai that came in at 5,500 was first to our market,
And I think
as
that
I
was a
recall.
4-cylinder
So when they
too,
talk
yeah.
about a history of making reliable cars, it can't be them in this market. That wouldn't make sense. So that nullifies that. Plus, it wasn't 3-cylinder.
What were my? I said Yugo, and then the first one was my other.
You said Yugo, you said Justy.
and the Yugo-
You said Metro.
Yugo was a Yugoslavian Fiat, and so that car had, as a Yugo, had no history in this country. And I don't think that was a 3-banger. I think that was just like an 1100cc 4-cylinder, like really
so.
tiny,
That sounds
like
about
really
right.
tiny.
I got to ask a question.
Yeah.
I've blurred. Him and I have had this. We have been talking, and I've thrown out multiple cars.
Yeah.
Have you not accepted any of those?
No, you have to
because
be
they
like,
weren't
this is my guess.
Yeah,
final
yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
So I
we've
could-
said about 50 cars.
Yeah.
So one of
That's
those.
true, yeah.
That's my question. So one of those could be it.
Could be.
Could
you have
be.
to say,
And
this is my
I will not
official
react.
Yeah.
I'm like a stone wall of
Okay.
That's true.
All right. So it could be one of those
I don't
that
know.
I've
Could be.
actually said.
Could be.
I
Magic
can't.
8 Ball. Did JP already say the answer?
Oh, it's a good
Get
use of the
fucked.
8-ball.
Yeah.
Please put your penis away.
It knew.
What is it? Signs point to yes.
Signs point to
oh,
Shit, that
You
8-ball
did-
does not lie.
Man, oh man, that is.
Undefeated.
So what are my
Tantalizing.
official answers? What official answers have I actually said?
You've never
Zero.
you haven't done
Say,
it.
Oh.
this is my official
We
guess
did-
number
yeah,
one.
We're just
is
discussing
me.
our answer, but we haven't ventured.
I
a
said
guess.
Yugo, and you got all excited. So what is?
I'm always excited about you guys.
You kidding me?
How could you not?
You ever been to Yugoslavia?
Jeez,
Yeah.
What was
Rick.
left of it?
Yeah.
He said he doesn't react, and that was a
Croatia's
total
formerly-
reaction.
Only to you
Oh,
guys.
there's, I think so. There's
Yeah,
one.
so I've been to that. Yeah.
So okay,
World Cup.
so it's either a Subaru Justy, a Yugo, or I don't know.
The other one
What
you
was
said.
the other? What was the other one they said? The
Geo
first
Metro?
one.
Said Geo Metro.
Geo Metro.
You're
I don't
3
think
minutes
that's a
in. You have seven-ish minutes left.
Yeah.
Geo Metro. So is our first official answer?
Do your Subaru.
Just say one.
Do
Say
your
my
Subaru.
official guess
the
is
Subaru as
the
a
official guess
I like
is a
that.
Subaru Justy.
That's it?
That's first answer.
That's the first answer?
Yeah.
$5,500 for a Justy?
Yeah.
Introducing
In
the
80s.
only
Wait, are you
$5,500
saying
car
that's it?
engineered like a Subaru. The Subaru Justy.
Bang.
And that was kind of your first guess. Actually,
Good job, guys. Great job.
No, it wasn't. No.
You guys did the proper
first
way to
guess was
fluff that
actually-
out with
Yeah.
the whole history
Yes.
of, right?
My
That's the right
first
way.
What are you
guess
guys doing with your
was a
disposable
626.
income?
all right, time out. That looks like a Yugo, though. Look
Yeah.
at that thing.
Uh-huh.
That actually looks like a
Or a
GTS.
Festiva.
Looks
Perhaps a
like a shit box.
Festiva.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, nice.
Look at
Was it
that.
Festiva 3? No, that was
How many
four.
people get it right?
I want to ask
Like,
you
what's
a
the record?
honest question. Did you know the answer to that?
No idea.
Really?
Oh, no.
He knew the answer.
No, I hadn't seen it before.
Yeah.
But
guessed
I was thinking it was either that or maybe like the Suzuki Swift because they were selling Suzukis in the market before the
Three-banger?
Swift.
Which was
I
the
think.
same as the Geo Metro.
It's the same as a Geo Metro.
Yes,
exactly.
there you
Which
go.
I have owned. I owned a Metro convertible that I ended up selling on a.
It's a weird
Cars
flex,
and
Frank.
Figs, and
It's a weird flex.
It
Yeah.
pulled 5,800.
Yeah.
Hey, I bought it for 1,500.
Oh, dude.
If you made money on it, you're in.
Yeah, I made like 4 big ones. 4 thou on that.
Yeah.
So we
emphasis
can.
on
So
big
you
ones.
can go back on this, later and look. Okay,
get back
so
in
you started
time.
reading it, and the first time I said a Subaru Justy, from the beginning of
couple
the
paragraphs,
was
yeah.
within 60 seconds.
Pretty quick.
Yeah.
That's quick
Because
draw.
my
draw.
first, the first thing when you said 5,500
Are you that quick at
bucks,
everything? Wait, what?
Get Rochelle on the phone. She'll tell you the truth.
Yes, sir.
Proud, I got better things.
So, with that, with much fanfare and to do about the victory, we'll rattle this off super quick.
Yeah.
And you guys partially already talked about it. The last thing we always do is we like to celebrate by doing an amazing amount of PCP.
Project Car Progress.
Oh, okay.
Project Car Progress.
Yeah, I don't
so
wanna-
we kind of rattle off our
Frank's
own.
very soft on
We
explaining.
kind of discuss what we're up to and things at the homestead. It sounds like you've got a couple of wounded birds at the house that are just waiting on this and that. Any other Project Car Progress you've made here or in the process of making?
Just a bunch of podcasts and YouTube channels that we
good.
can maybe plug later or something like that.
Yeah, we'll definitely crunch that.
We're on time. You want to just do pluggies?
Yeah, we'll just do pluggables.
Well,
I haven't done shit anyways. Anything you've been working on?
Well, yeah. So I purchased my dad's Fiat. Like we have a little restaurant for years in the family. So I'd sold it to a chef who no longer worked with us, and a little more Italian than that. But then I bought the car back. I want to take the 1600cc motor, which made like 85 horsepower originally, and send it to Midwest Bayless, and I think they're in like Ohio or something.
Okay.
And this guy out there is kind of the expert on the Fiat twin cams.
Sure.
He's going to rebuild the motor with light and crank and high compression pistons. This
Yeah.
car's smog exempt in California,
Yeah,
so it's
let it rip.
already on a
Perfect.
plate. He'll
Cool.
put 2 huge 40 millimeter carbs on it. And the beauty of the 1600cc motor is it's rev happy by nature.
Yep.
And although JP wouldn't want it this way, I don't mind a car that needs to be on the boil, almost like you're driving a 2-stroke.
Yeah.
But that car.
Why wouldn't I like that?
I don't know. You said it didn't sound as fun as having like a 2-liter. The hot thing
Muscle
would be
car
to,
guy.
would it be to
Sounded
put a
like a
2-liter in
for
it
a
and you
second,
get
yeah.
more horsepower but a lot more
It's
torque.
like RT1 swap it.
This will be all horsepower, but it's going to go from like 85 to like 140, 145 horsepower
That's a
and
noticeable bump.
still
Yeah.
run on pump fuel.
Cool.
And it'll rev like over 7,000 RPM, like close to 8,000 RPM. That car's going to be
That'll be fun.
to drive.
Yeah.
And it's a 5-speed, synchro mesh, and disc brakes all around. That car, I'm quietly optimistic that car's going to
I
rip.
can feel
when
it. I can
finish
feel it
That's
in your
gonna be
voice.
fun.
you know?
Yeah, we put a bigger sway bar on the
Jonesing
front,
for it.
added a rear sway bar, which it didn't come with. So this car actually works, And then when I get it going, if we do DWA, you guys can all drive
that'd
the
be
car.
good. Yeah, that'd be good.
I'm not one of those weirdos. I like, here, drive my car, have fun. That car, it put a smile on your face, and it sounds good,
There you go.
Nice.
I'm into it.
So, yeah.
Sounds
And then
good.
the Alfetta I was telling you, I'm trying to set that car up to handle as well.
Cool.
And if it's really cool and I don't part with it, it'd be cool to rebuild that car because as a 75,
Yep.
it's also smog
Right on
exempt.
the bubble, yeah.
Whereas the rest of those are like 76 through 85. It'd be much more difficult to do that. This is the only pre-76 year available, and I found one out of Florida. So that car, we ripped all the smog stuff off it. I got the headers. And the car at least will sound good,
Yeah.
So anyway, those are the projects.
I'm into it.
Cool.
We're making progress.
Yeah.
Yours are rotting on the vine. Mine are doing very much the same thing and being in some state of disrepair. Chadwick,
Well,
you got
you're kind of a
anything
wrench on your own though. You fix a lot of the stuff yourself.
A lot of
right?
it. Sometimes I have to push stuff out because I don't have time.
Yeah.
This guy hardcore wrenches on his own stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get dirty.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, that's the thing. I gotta get somebody else to do it. I'm
Soft hands.
That's right. Exactly.
So I'm at someone else's. I
at their beck
envy
and
you
call.
guys having the space, time, tools, all those things to.
Well, that's not always true.
Yeah, exactly.
Make it happen
You know,
Exactly.
My-
Overrated.
Yeah, my Mercedes is at a shop in the Sunset in San Francisco, getting the coilovers off and putting the self-leveling back on, and I'm going to push that car out the door. And then the Alpha is at Alpha Man in Novato, and he's doing he did all the major tune-up stuff. So
Cool.
fuel pumps and fuel lines and battery and everything to get the car running and sorted. And then he'll do the suspension and stuff. I bought some Campagnolo magnesium wheels and got those retro Pirelli CN36s, NC36s.
Okay.
They have the
old school tread.
vintage tread pattern.
Yeah.
But they're like a modern super sport tire.
compound.
Yeah, they're really
Dope.
cool.
Huh.
So that car should look and drive really nice.
Into it. Chadwick, you button anything up before we put a
Put
cap
a
on this?
new
now?
roof on a Miata.
That
Actually,
sounds
really
fun.
hard. I'd rather do another timing belt job, to tell you the truth. It's a pain in the ass.
A new, new roof?
Soft top roof.
A
Yeah,
new
you have
soft
to
top.
stretch it
Oh,
over the
okay.
roof. It's frame. It's
Oh,
a
screw
nightmare.
that. Yeah.
Absolute nightmare.
Oh.
My garage looks like a bomb went off. It's like fucking
So
pieces.
you're not a cabriophobe. That's good.
No, yeah.
I love convertibles. I've
Yeah.
always been a convertible. My first car was cars are way more fun with no roof than. But the thing is,
Down, screaming out.
there's no doubt that they typically look better with roofs, like with hard tops. And anytime a convertible doesn't work is hell. At least with a Miata, at least it's like snap when you drop
They
it
killed
back.
it with the Miata. Period. They killed it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go Miata crazy right now, guys.
I had a 993 cab for years, and I was in like one of the worst parts of town, and I'm hitting the button, and it goes and stop, like right straight up. And down. Like,
Air brake.
Yeah, right.
this is fun. Get on the internet. How do you do this manually? So yeah, cabrios are great when they work, but sometimes
I agree.
not so
I think early Miatas are a little bright spot too. We've seen a recent run on them sort of this summer and fall of like low original mile first gen Miatas bringing kind of ridiculous money. Probably I haven't actually looked it up. I probably should have, but probably bringing more money than they were originally. MSRP.
Yeah, this is my fourth Miata, and
Yeah.
I bought it. When did I buy this? 2021.
Yeah.
And I paid double for the same condition what I would have paid maybe a year before.
Right.
So they're
Right.
the
Yeah.
NA Miatas, the pop-up headlight
Yeah,
ones,
totally.
very hot right now.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So
console.
what is the going price for a clean one with miles?
I would a clean
Ballpark,
one with
yeah.
all the maintenance done and not hacked up and drifted to death. Probably like 6 to 7 to 8.
Okay,
Yeah.
For
all right.
and I'm talking
Yeah, you're
mileage,
talking
like
that-
150.
yeah,
Right. And I've seen some with like sub 40,000 miles and all original, nothing redone, bringing like 25 grand.
Yeah.
We're like,
Oh, the money's there.
we're like, look at that. It's
Yeah.
like,
They're so
holy
simple,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Another
Yeah.
$6,000
It's
another
Was it
$6,000
like
car.
Some of the
forever.
early
Right,
ones you
right.
could get with with manual steering instead of power steering.
So
Exactly.
mine is like
Yeah.
that. No power steering, no
Yeah.
ABS,
Yeah.
nothing. Absolutely.
Shifter.
It said no AC even.
No
right?
AC
That
from the factory.
shifter is legend.
Yeah.
A Miata
And then,
RS,
like a little bit like an
basically,
S2000,
yeah.
where it's
Yeah.
just in the wrist.
Yeah, well, the shifter
Yeah,
drops
that's
right into
2000.
the transmission
So good.
on those, so there's
Yeah.
no slop. Yeah, it's a very pure
Kind of
car.
cool cars, yeah.
I told you I wasn't going to go off the.
There you go. Off the
Yeah.
defense. Yeah, that's well, I guess just to close it out, gentlemen. I almost said genital. Gentlemen, where can the wanting masses find you? Where can you be found?
Yeah, plug
all
your
your
stuff.
things.
Bid
What are the
Nerds.
pluggables?
Bid Nerds on YouTube, and please, we ask everybody to subscribe because, as you know,
Right.
we're
Join the herd.
like you, we're sort of shoestringing it, and the subscriptions as well as the views make a big difference because we're all trying to break the YouTube algorithm.
That's right.
and create mass adoption for the Nerd Herd. What's really cool is that John, is a car guy, dyed in the wool, but a producer by nature from his history in the Pacific Northwest. So when I met him, he was pushing out the Der Fascination films, and we both worked for the same company
Sure.
that kind of provided some of the clients in the cars for that series. And so the DF stuff lives on, and then he's got the Duradai, the Rami show. Some of the stuff went to Pluto TV and was
Cool.
Porsche Road Trip. So like a lot of things, and so Bid Nerds is part of his lexicon, and I'm thrilled to work
Part
with
of your
him.
umbrella.
Yeah,
Your
it's
Our
network.
really cool.
ecosystem.
Yeah,
we
there
have,
you go.
we
So
have
really-
multiples.
It's like your own little biodome.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
cool stuff, and it's all compelling stuff because if you're a car guy, you look and you'll laugh and smile and you'll fantasize about high school or a rally you did. It's
Sure.
all neat stuff.
Oh yeah. Very good.
Yeah, if
Did
you
he
want to see
plug
the
for you?
super bonker stuff, go to the Rami show.
Yeah, and get the
Go
kids
off
out
the
of
deep end.
Get the kids out of
Yeah.
there. Yeah, that's
that's
NC-17.
jumping Aventadors and burning down G wagons and stuff
Yeah,
like
and,
that.
and always with Vegas
yeah.
showgirls.
Yeah.
Oh wait, there's more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Dur or Die is a podcast we do in the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas. That's
Shout
where our
out-
studio
shout out
is.
Dwayne Wick.
Yeah, with my partner Dwayne Wick there. If you guys are ever in Vegas, we'll
Keep
have
it
you
Wick.
guys on.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
you guys got to come and see the studio. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Der Fascination site, all the Porsche road trip stuff that was on Pluto that I did with Adam Carolla, that'll
Sweet.
all migrate onto the channel here at the beginning of the year.
There you go.
Bid Nerds, if you go there today, you're going to notice that we haven't published anything in a week or two.
Yeah.
Where are my pearls?
Our
We're,
sound,
yeah.
our sound is the bane of our existence at the moment.
It's bringing in from the other, because he's in San Francisco, I'm in Vegas, so
Challenge.
marrying
You're
the two
fighting
is a
some
bit,
skips and some blips.
yeah,
and
the
stuff.
so-
Switcher app sucks.
Switcher
Officially.
Studio. Don't use Switcher Studio. So we're changing all the
The
technical
anti-plug.
stuff, and January 1 will be
Lucas
rocking it.
Electronics, Prince of Darkness.
That's true.
And we should also mention our sponsor, God and Porsche of Las Vegas,
Absolutely.
has sponsored our
Actually,
site
yeah.
as well as Guys Customs.
We need one of
so
those.
we're stepping up, and
Sponsor? Yeah, we
we've
gotta get
actually
one of
been
those,
able
right?
Yeah.
to go pay for the new stuff.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice. Yeah.
Isn't this house kind of your sponsor since you guys?
I mean, our
here?
physical
car-
housing.
how do you say
Yeah.
car park, right?
At Car Park.
Car
yes.
Park.
Car with a K.
With a
Here
K.
in Pleasanton.
Yeah.
Frank, how about you, man?
Oh boy,
yourself.
I am the photographer's garage on all of the places where you find things. That's Instagram, mostly a little bit on the YouTube. How about you, Chadwick? What are you doing? What are you
Auto
cooking?
Obsessive Garage, mostly on YouTube, rescuing, restoring turd boxes because no one else is going to do it.
That's right. It's-
Somebody has to.
That's right. You should have
Signed
seen
by
this.
God
You should
to
have
do
seen
this.
this guy's Mercury Tracer LTS. Let me tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Try to
boy.
find another one of those for sale.
That's right.
Mercury.
Because
There
they're
we
not
go.
worth shit.
That's right.
But, yeah, no, they're in Instagram, of course.
Cool. And of course,
We are.
you find us where you're currently listening or watching us, which is we are Another Pointless Automotive Podcast. That's at APA Podcast on the gram. And that's it.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for hanging
Yeah,
out
guys,
and,
thanks
and-
so
and
much for
talking about
stopping by.
nonsense. Check out the Bid Nerds guys. They have a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun with them here.
Yeah.
Make it worth their while.
So do I get a Subaru Justy?
You get a free
Phil, what do you
Subaru
want?
You get a Subaru Testy.
Do you think you can send a Justy to Gunther Works and have them really
Yeah,
like work it
yeah,
out?
let's make a
It's
carbon
an icon,
fiber.
the icon Justy, you know?
Well, yeah.
Seam weld the entire chassis.
Yeah, can you rebuild it in carbon? Come on. All right.
All right, that's
And
on
on
that
that
note.
note, yeah, seriously. Bye.
Thanks again, guys.
Doodles.